Action.
Action.
So I'm watching this show on HBO, HBO Showtime. Elvis Presley, The Searcher, and I just watched the first part one.
Part one.
Caught it at the end. Narrated by Priscilla Presley, Scotty Moore, who was a member of the Jordanaires, who played with Prince from the very beginning of his career. Red West, his cousin, who was his cousin and one of his bodyguards. Bill Ferris, don't know him. Bill Malone, Portia Maltsby. But there are some songs on here I've never heard. Elvis's story is very interesting because this first part goes into how he came to rise, and now they're going to show The Searcher Part 2. How he came to the peak of his career, the pinnacle of his career, and then was inducted into the Army at the age of 21. And there was a couple really compelling parts, like where they say, at the age of 21, they have some narration by Bruce Springsteen, some narration by Tom Petty. Thank you. And Tom Petty says that there were not many stars who, in that time, had that command of basically the world of pop culture at the age of 21.
Back then.
And then his being inducted into the Army, which him and his manager, Colonel Tom Parker, chose not to rebuke, and he went into the Army and did his duty. And they speak on how he was unsure of what would happen to his career when he came back from the Army after 2 years. And how that was when he first got into experimenting with pills, uppers, and the soldiers took them in those days. It was not seen as something that was a very big deal, but it was the start of him like experimenting. So I just wanted to give my take on that. I really like this. I hope Lisa Marie had some input in this. I'm sure she did, in Elvis Presley estate. And yeah. It seems a bit sad on the sad side, but Elvis's career was sad, but it doesn't show a lot of happy moments. It reminds me that Elvis had a twin brother who died at birth, which was the reason why his mother was so protective of him. It reminds me that, when he met Priscilla, she was about 14 years old and he was 21, which in this day and age, he would be reamed for. So it's pretty interesting. I like it. They showed some shots of Priscilla when she met him in Germany, because her father was in the Army and her family was stationed in Germany. And Elvis didn't work while he was in Germany as a musician or recording artist. All he did was go to his job in the Army and then come home. So when he got to spend time, he met her, and then they started this friendship. So, and I remember Maite Garcia bringing up in her book the similarities that she felt to her story, to Priscilla's story of being the daughter of a military father, and while overseas in Spain for Maite, in Germany for Priscilla. I think Maite even went to the same high school as Priscilla, and she recalls, the similarities of their stories, how they were already, they were young, but they were idealistic, and they met these two rock stars, and they had no idea what they were getting into. But both of the women's stories are very similar in how they met these older men, at least 10 years older than them, both of them. And it was destined to be this fairy tale romance. So that's my take on Elvis Presley, The Searcher on HBO. I think it still has relevance today. I think that it's an important story for people to read and learn about, or listen to, watch and learn about, because if there was no Elvis, there would, there'd be so many R&B stars that we wouldn't even know about today, and I don't really think people have an appreciation for that. Just my opinion. So we're about to watch part 2, but I just felt the need to talk about this and its importance on pop culture, on musical history, on American history, on American music history, because I don't feel that Elvis was racist, as some people have mentioned before. I feel that he was living in a time where there were do's and don'ts, but because his music spanned genres, he topped the pop chart, the country western charts, some of the gospel charts, and the R&B charts, that he was able to do things similar to Prince, where he could reach across genres and reach across the cultures and socioeconomic lines. So I'm Jill, that's my opinion, and that's it. That's my thoughts. Elvis Presley, The Searcher, HBO. Part 2 coming up. Bye.